Ahead tonight, the win-win BEC has devised for the sake of its finances and weary customers.
A contract signed for multi-island housing development. The details straight ahead.
And what Bahamar could mean for a keen entrepreneurial mind. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley.
And I'm Kendino Knowles. As always, it's good to have you with us.
Topping the news tonight, the Bahamas Electricity Corporation has devised a win-win scenario which will include a discount for consumers and improved cash flow for the corporation. It's part of the plan to execute a government mandate to lower electricity costs.
Janelle Ferguson tells us that today BEC rolled out its summer discount and reconnection campaign that's intended to help some 7,000 consumers pay off a collective $26 million in arrears.
It's no secret that given the economic challenges, Bahamians have been finding it difficult to keep their electricity bills current. In an effort to keep the lights on in every residential home in the country, BEC Chairman Leslie Miller says an aggressive plan is underway to do just that, as BEC is currently experiencing a cash flow shortage.
We don't have the necessary cash to pay Shell West. Now, if we don't pay Shell West, you don't have to worry about paying your bill. We ain't gonna have the fuel to feed the engines, to feed you electricity.
To avoid staying out of the dark, Miller says between now and the end of June, persons who pay off all of their arrears will be given a 10% discount that will be applied to the portion of the bill that is more than 60 days past due. Additionally, customers who pay their bills in its entirety for the summer months will also be given a 2% discount.
If you don't pay it, we can cut you off. If you pay it, you get a 10% discount. So it's the advantage to pay the bill, knowing that you get a 10% discount off the bill. Normally on time, you would get a 2% discount for being a good customer. Now you may say, well, but the bad customers getting 10. That's because we need the money.
BEC Chairman Leslie Miller says they plan to restructure that payment plan put in place by the former administration, as he says it did more harm than good.
You had 3 years to pay a bill. That system has been totally abused, misused, and it's the board intention to scrap that, because that didn't help BEC a lot. In fact, it hurt BEC.
And for those thousands of customers who have been disconnected, Miller says BEC is willing to work with customers who make some sort of effort to pay.
Bahamians don't pay bills normally. That's all of us, including me. So I'm not exception to the rule. I'm one of the regular potcakes who try not to pay these regular bills. BEC will do its level best to see that you are on. Now, within reason, we ain't gonna turn you on if you ain't paying your bill and still use electricity. But you got to work with us so we can work with you.
Now, persons are encouraged to come into BEC to discuss their options. Janelle Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
BEC Chairman Leslie Miller is also promising no blackouts this summer, and if the company, or at least that is if the company, can get its Clifton Pier plant up to par.
You should have no blackout at all this summer. And the electricity costs should be down from last summer, because once we continue to use Clifton and not use Blue Hills, which use a more expensive fuel. See, the difference between the fuel costs with Clifton and Blue Hills is about 30%. The usage of the fuel between Clifton and Blue Hills, the machines, is about 30%. So with those two combinations, us keeping Clifton afloat, keeping Clifton running at all times, that would assist us in not only generating the electricity that you need to keep all the lights on, but the cost also decreases.
Now, Mr. Miller charged that the Clifton Pier plant has been neglected for many years and has not had proper maintenance. But Mr. Miller says that has all changed.
We have turned it around now that we have put all our emphasis. Not that we are neglecting Blue Hills. In fact, a brand new engine is being put in Blue Hills as we speak. A 26 megawatt gas turbine by Hitachi is being implemented now at Blue Hills. That's going to be on stream in September. In September, that new engine is going to be on stream. We're hoping that all of Blue Hills become a standby generation. In other words, when we are at full load, then that those engines come on to assist Clifton to generate the electricity that's needed for New Providence.
The government's housing program will take off in about 30 days. A $60 million memorandum of understanding was signed today between the Ministry of Housing and Environment, the Ministry of Finance, the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation, and the National Insurance Board. It'll fund more than 100 homes in several islands. Jimenita Swain has more.
There are at least 600 applicants on the waiting list for a government home. On Thursday, a memorandum of understanding was inked, making way for the construction of more than 100 homes dispersed between New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, and San Salvador. Minister of Housing and Environment Kenred Dorset says the funds to get the project rolling will be allocated periodically.
The initial tranche, which is governed by the MOU, is in the amount of $10 million to be drawn down over a period of 12 months in quarterly equal installments. This program, as has been articulated by the Prime Minister, begins our housing program in earnest. It will provide us with an opportunity to build in excess of 120 homes in subdivisions where we already have infrastructure.
Dorset hailed the signing as an historic one, as a project manager and financial advisor will be appointed to oversee the project. There are also other factors in place to address the issue of shoddy workmanship.
Policy moving forward is that we're going to engage private inspectors with adequate professional indemnity insurance who will sign off on each of the 5 stages of our usual construction process to ensure that at the end of the day we will be able to not only pursue the contractors but also pursue those who have signed off on the various stage payments.
Dorset says those appointments will be made in the coming days. He said construction should begin in the next 30 days. Bahamas Mortgage Corporation Chairman Alex Storr said the new homes are much welcome news.
This helps us to provide housing for those that are looking for it and to provide the funding to make sure that the housing program continues. Because I'm sure, as you would know, under the previous PLP administration, we were way above all the rest in terms of our housing program. So we want to return to that stature.
Dorset says the project should generate some much-needed jobs in the construction field and is expected to be completed by next summer. Jimenita Swain, ZNS Network News.
2 of the country's finest trade unionists will be honored during the first ever Randall Fox Labor Day event.
During what will be the first unified march in more than a decade, honorees 87-year-old Maureen Duvalier and 77-year-old Eric Darville, who played critical roles in the Bahamas Musicians Alliance Union and the Bahamas Public Service Union, will be honored.
During a ceremony to pay special tribute to these 2 outstanding Bahamians, ZNS News caught up with the honorees to talk about the struggle.
I've been the first woman to have an executive position for almost 40 years in the Bahamas Musician Entertainers Union. I'm the first woman to take women on Bay Street in the 50s. I say Bay Street wasn't made for man, it was made for Bahamians.
A member of the Bahamas Public Service Organization under Mr. T.L. Darling. We progressed, we became a union in 1958. After the Burma Road riot, we became a union. And it was then that we bought some property at South Beach, on South Beach Road for the Bahamas Public Services Union.
President of the National Trade Union Congress, Jennifer Isaacs Dotson, says she's pleased that this year trade unionists can officially celebrate this Labor Day in honor of the father of labor, Sir Randall Fox.
To say thanks to the government for finally taking the courage to do it. even though I think it's a bit late, but we still thank the government for doing it and naming Labor Day in honor of Sir Randall. And I think it's a significant milestone for the trade union movement to have Labor Day named after one of the great trade unionists, but one of our national heroes, who has made great contribution not just to the trade union movement, but to the national development of our country.
In our first look at weather satellite pictures showing feeder bands from Tropical Storm Andre feeding over the northwest Bahamas, and that will fire up some showers as it moves over some of our islands over the next 24 hours. But at 5 o'clock, the center of Andre was located at 29.5 degrees north longitude, 83.4 west. It's packing winds of 65 miles per hour, movement towards the north at 17 miles per hour. We anticipate that will accelerate over the next 24 hours. That puts the system 35 miles northwest of Cedar Key and 80 miles southeast of Tallahassee. And outside of our studios right now, cloudy skies, temperature 84 degrees, relative humidity 79%, winds out of the south-southeast at 80 knot, barometric pressure 1,012.6 millibars. That's 29.90 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Falmouth Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell is lobbying for a major bilateral convenience for Bahamians.
He told Parliament today that given the close ties between the Bahamas and the United States, the time has come for a more seamless travel process. Carla Palmer has that and more in the Foreign Affairs and Immigration mandate laid out in Minister Mitchell's budget presentation.
Fox Hill, wherever I go, is foremost on my mind. Each day, trying to get one more person hired, another road fixed, another school repaired, another child a scholarship.
Nevertheless, the Member of Parliament for Fox Hill, the Honourable Fred Mitchell's commitment and dedication is equally fixed on his overall national and international responsibilities as the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration. At present, he lists the relationship with our closest trading partner and ally, the United States, as key to the country's foreign policy.
I've just concluded discussions with the American authorities about our concerns with regard to the gun violence which is wreaking havoc on our streets, for example, and what further steps can be taken by them to assist in stopping this violence. We have a stake in making sure that our views are heard on this and other issues, and we welcome the fact that the United States has announced that they will sign the Small Arms Treaty of the United Nations as a first step in tracking how manufactured weapons make their way from the U.S. to jurisdictions such as ours.
Minister Mitchell is also continuing the push to gain visa-free access to the United States.
We believe that the Bahamas should be a country whose citizens can enter the United States visa-free. We continue to express our concerns about what appears to be arbitrary decisions made to deny Bahamians visas to visit the United States.
This budget period, the Department of Immigration has been allocated almost $16 million. Of that figure, $1.8 million will go to hiring 60 immigration officers at a salary of $18,000 annually.
The item for repatriation in the budget has been increased this year from $1 million to $1,200,000, and we think that this fairly anticipates the demands which we will expect during the ensuing year.
Between January and May this year, 1,433 immigrants have been repatriated. 1,042 were Haitians at a cost of $973,000. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
The new real property tax amnesty program initiated by the government in March this year is said to be reaping great dividends. The program was established to allow property owners to have their properties assessed without any penalties, affording them an opportunity to bring their accounts current without incurring any back taxes. Minister of State for Finance, the Honorable Michael Alquita, says the program is on the road to success. Since its implementation, some $49.1 million has been collected.
Where no more than 3 years of payment arrears exist, 50% of the total owed in both principal and surcharges is waived, providing full payment is made by June 30th, 2013. And as of May 31st, Mr. Speaker, a total of 415 such accounts were settled for total collections of $4.8 billion. Where accumulated arrears for more than 3 years exist, 100% of surcharges only are waived, provided payment is made by December 31st, 2013. And as at May 31st, Mr. Speaker, 114 such accounts were settled for a total collection of $2.44 million. And to reward property owners, Mr. Speaker, to reward those property owners presently on the assessment list whose payment of property tax is current, a 5% rebate given for the tax year 2013, and this shall be continued to be offered each year for the next 2 years if they remain current. And as of May 31st, Mr. Speaker, 77 such accounts were settled for a total collection of $728,000.
Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture and Member of Parliament for Carmichael, Dr. Daniel Johnson, told the House of Assembly that cultural tourism is a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide and that he wants the Bahamas to get in on the action in a bigger way.
Mr. Johnson says the Bahamas is preparing to take its share to the market through a cultural festival similar to Trinidad's Carnival and Brazil's Mardi Gras.
But I want the public to know that this will be a uniquely Bahamian festival. But we have to learn now to compete with the big boys. And we'll be going after, Trinidad in 1 week makes $180 million on that festival. Toronto in 1 week will make $120 million at Carabana. US dollars. And none of them have half the visitors we have. Trinidad just scraping 1 million visitors.
In keeping with its mandate for the development of youth, Minister Johnson outlined the national youth policy designed to address major needs, challenges, and opportunities for the country's youth. He adds, however, that various youth programs throughout the country, like the 300 Connect, are already underway.
Where the Division of Youth has a 5-year strategic plan whose goals are to encourage youth well-being, youth participation in their own developmental process. The 300 Connect initiative is a multi-layered, comprehensive approach designed to achieve just this goal. This program is divided into 3 to meet the needs of young people at different levels. The first is a Community Connect, partnering with uniformed organizations who serve these communities and provide both support in areas of human resource, volunteering, initiatives that will seek to make sure that these unattached youths join an organization of their choosing that is convenient for them to get to.
Now, in his contribution to the 2013-2014 debate, the Free National Movement Member of Parliament for St. Anne's, Hubert Chipman, knocked the government for borrowing $1 billion in just 1 year. Now, he charged that the PLP government continues to blame the FNM, but it is a sign of poor leadership. Mr. Chipman says the PLP will always have a government of handouts and will never learn fiscal discipline.
They borrowed $504 million at the outset when they came into office, and they came back for another $100 million at the time of the mid-year budget. Now they're back, asking to borrow another $465 million. Can you believe that?
Lays out his plan for the country.
And Bahamians urge to get in on Bahamar. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.